You're listening to English with Monty, the podcast about the English language. Today is 8-Minute English, talking about modals with probability. Hello there and welcome to 8-Minute English. Hi Gideon, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you, John.
Excellent. We're going to do modals again because modals apparently is like catnip for English learners.
Is that right?
We're going to get millions of listens from this just because it's modals. I don't know why. Why do you think people like listening things about modals?
I think it's just the word modal. It sounds like yodel, people singing in Switzerland, and that's what attracts all the listeners. They think you're going to sing. They think you're going to modal.
I'm going to modal.
Yeah.
Which is a unique way of yodeling. They're going to be sadly disappointed because I'm not going to do that. But we're going to talk about probability with modals.
Must we?
Must we? Yes, we must. Because it's quite tricky, I think, sometimes. I think we've covered it a little bit with other episodes. Episode number 31, I want to point everybody to episode number 31. That is Catnip Central. And also the one that I've recently released. It wasn't with you, was it? Was it with you?
No, somebody better.
It was with you. And it even did well.
Okay, of course it did well. Or they hear my lovely voice.
Normally with your episodes, they bomb. Okay. Anyway, probability. We're going to cover might, must, can't, bound to. Bound to is probably something we've not covered before.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess bound to is very similar, isn't it, really, to must, I suppose, in the sense that it expresses certainty in certain situations.
Are we starting with bound to? Is that what you're saying?
Let's do that.
I think it's very inevitability, isn't it? Bound to. John's bound to be late. I know John very well. He never turns up on time. And now, what time is it? It's 1 minute to 11. He's bound to be late. It's bound to rain tomorrow. We've got a picnic. So, of course, bound to rain.
Quite often it can be used with that kind of context, can't it? As in somebody's being quite negative. It's like, yeah, this is going to happen.
Kind of resignation, isn't it?
It is.
John's podcast 11 are playing Manchester United. My money's on Manchester United. They're bound to win.
I think they are, because I'm not sure if I can get 11 players together.
Yeah, that doesn't help if you're playing. You maybe need like 400 players to beat them. Oh, you're in Spain now, isn't it? So Real Madrid.
I think the only way we can win is by standing in the goal mouth and balancing on top of each other just to make sure they can't get the ball in the...
Only way to win would be to assassinate all the Real Madrid players. You might have a chance. And then I'm not sure.
It might not be within the spirit of the game, though, that.
Okay.
No. We're bound to win against Real Madrid, clearly. How is that different to must in terms of expressing certainty?
Must is a form of obligation. It's not really a form of certainty. It's an obligation. I've got a toothache. I must see a dentist.
But you can...
Personal obligation. I'm bound to go to the dentist. No. Might not happen. That might not happen. I don't see the connection. But go on.
Well, with certainty, for example, I could say to you, it's talking about a most realistic possibility. You must be tired. You've been messing around with the microphone for the last 3 hours.
Okay. Was something you believe to be true?
Yes.
Okay. It's not necessarily inevitable. You haven't eaten all day. You must be hungry. So you believe it's something to be true. It's not about inevitability of...
You feel that something is true, or you think it's the only realistic possibility. That's the idea, isn't it? And then also you could deduce something, which we definitely spoke about before, which is your example, isn't it? This must be your house because there's pictures of you all over it.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. The telephone's ringing. Oh, that must be John going to say something fantastic again. Must be John on the telephone. The only one who calls me, I'd say that must be John. I believe it's certain. It's the most likely thing.
Then you could go the opposite of that, which is can't, which means it's not possible in that case. The phone's ringing. It can't be Gideon because he got arrested the other week.
Yeah.
He's in jail, so it can't be him.
Exactly. He doesn't know how to use a phone.
Also.
Yeah. Yeah.
Degrees of uncertainty. It shouldn't be a problem, right? You know how to work Zoom?
Okay, yeah. It shouldn't be a problem.
You should be fine in a couple of days. You'll get over your cold. You should be fine.
The package should arrive soon. We believe that is the most likely outcome.
And then you've got may, might, and could. which again, I think we've spoken about. I guess may, might, and could is talking about the future or the present, isn't it? And it's possible, but we're not sure. I might see you tomorrow, but I'm not sure. It depends whether you've got some of those chocolate donuts.
Exactly. For possibility, you can use all three. There may be something that we hadn't thought of, John. I better check.
And may probably seems a bit stronger, doesn't it? A bit more formal.
Slightly stronger, yeah.
The issue with starting the podcast could have been prevented had the other party been more organized.
Yes.
I am using the past there, but it could be prevented. So using could is another way of doing it. Could well as well, I think is quite a good one. May well, could well, might well. That's a bit more formal, isn't it? So it makes the situation sound a bit more likely.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice way of expressing it. But I may well have the answer for you. Instead of saying may, just add well to it to show your enthusiasm, perhaps.
Which you have buckets of.
This could well be true as kind of emphasis, enthusiasm. Just put well after it.
We just sort of make sure as well in the negative. So you say might not, may not. You cannot contract those, but you can contract, obviously, could not. That could be couldn't.
Technically, you can contract might not, but it's rare, very rare, mightn't. May not, you cannot, not in this century. Anyway, not for several centuries. You don't say mayn't anymore. Might not is rare. Mightn't be free today. That sounds very rare. Couldn't is every day.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
I understand it's difficult for learners to know you have all these modal verbs. Some of them you can contract and some of them don't contract, and some of them you might occasionally hear contracted. To know when, it's a little bit complicated. Just listening a lot to English, you'll get a feel for it.
That's true, isn't it? It is more about listening out for those elements.
I mean, why not mayn't? Why not? But we don't say it.
And then can, I guess, is the last element, which is talking about general possibility. Something that happens or is capable of happening.
John can make a nice cake when he tries.
It's true. I still owe you a carrot cake.
Yeah, because you said you weren't going to pay me anything for this, but you would make me a cake.
With British carrots.
British carrots are the best, of course. We talked about this, did we?
We did in the last modal verbs.
Strangely, British carrots taste better than French carrots. I don't know why. British carrots are sweeter.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because you've been completely cancelled because of saying that now.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. No, but it's strange. But so many things that taste exactly the same, like fruits and vegetables. But carrots, the English carrots, taste better than the French carrots. I can't say why.
Perhaps it's just the pesticide or your taste buds.
I don't know. I don't have the answer.
On that note,
I don't know.
Thank you for joining me, Gideon. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And you've been listening to 8 Minute English.